Hello, folks. How are you doing? Welcome in to the Happy Sober podcast. My name is Craig Beck, and I'm coming to you from London, England. It's hot here today, well, by English standards. So the window's open. So there'll be sirens, there'll be cars beeping. It's London. Hey, hopefully it doesn't get too bad. So today I want to talk about, I want to talk specifically to people over 40. If you're over 40 years of age, I've got a really important message to share with you. Especially if you're a problem drinker, a heavy drinker, or heck, even an alcoholic. I want to talk to you specifically today. If you are arriving here at my Happy Sober podcast because you are now worried about your own drinking, then you know the score. Take action. Don't sit on the fence. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, and sign up for my free quit drinking webinar, where I will take you through in detail how my process has managed to help hundreds of thousands of people to find their own happy, sober lives. All right. I'll even give you a copy of my book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for turning out. So let's talk about, first of all, the point where you give up alcohol. It is coming to you. Look, if you haven't yet given up alcohol and you're hanging around my website, my YouTube channel, my podcast, it's coming to you. There is a moment where it is going to happen because it is inevitable. So you might as well do it now. You see, I speak to so many people on a one-to-one basis who still live under the delusion that they actually have a choice in this. You know, people have coaching sessions with me and they're all saying, Craig, I'm thinking about giving up alcohol. I'm just not sure if I should do it. I'm going to miss the social side. I'm going to miss all the fun and the parties. And I'm just not sure if it's time. And I'm thinking, you're killing yourself. You're stewing over this choice that you think you have, and it doesn't even exist. Because once you cross the valve, once you cross over the event horizon, and you move from being one of those mysterious moderate social drinkers who can take or leave a drink, and you become a problem drinker, whether that's binge drinker or daily drinker, there's no way back. The door has closed. It's been sealed off for you forever. There's no way back to moderate drinker from problem drinker. So this choice that people think they have doesn't even exist. There is no choice. The only question is, are you going to quit today or another day? That's the only choice, right? And, that might sound scary. It might sound depressing. It might sound disappointing, but it shouldn't. Because there are lots of things in life where a door closes and we can never go back. It happens all the time. It's just we don't make a fuss about it. We don't make it a bigger deal than it needs to be. There are lots of turning points in life, lots of new chapters and valve decisions. You had them when you were a kid. There were things you used to do as a kid that you loved. But there came a point in your life where it was no longer appropriate for you to do it. And so you left it behind. You don't torture yourself every day thinking, oh, I wish I could play in the soft play. I wish I could go and play in the ball pit. You understand that was then and this is now, and you are now a different person. You are in a different chapter of your life, and it's fine to leave that behind. And it's not just as simple as that. It happens in professional sportsmen, footballers, rugby players. They all get to a point where it's no longer appropriate to continue doing the thing they've loved doing for the last 3 decades. Professional footballers get to the point where they can no longer put themselves through that anymore. And despite the brain wanting to continue, the body says no, and they have to leave it behind. Now, you can resist that and you can fight it, and you'd be very miserable. And it happens a lot. You see, a lot of sports people will go into a mental health crisis when they have to give up their passion. Or you can accept it and move on. All right. And the same is true of alcohol. Once you cross that valve and there's no way back, the harder you fight it, the more miserable a time you're going to have. The sooner you can accept it and make peace with it, everything gets easy. And look, what I wanted to talk about today specifically is if you're over the age of 40, you got to start looking after yourself a bit better. You can't get away with what you used to get away in your 20s and your 30s. Your body is not as resilient, especially your heart. Okay. Your heart is an amazing device, but it's got a set number of beats in it. It's like a battery, but you just don't know how many beats you're going to get. But at some point, your heart is going to stop. You're going to hit that number, and your heart is going to stop. Won't work anymore. It has a shelf life, right? So you have to take this seriously, because once you get to 40, there's a good chance that there are more years behind you than there are in front of you. And if you want that number in front of you to be what it's supposed to be, if you want to live your full life, then you got to take the alcohol out of your life completely. Why? Because, everyone talks about, the harm that alcohol does to the liver. And a lot of problem drinkers go and get liver scans and liver tests. And as long as they get it all clear on the liver, they go, yeah, I can carry on drinking. But actually, it's devastating to your heart. And if you're still drinking right now, I can prove it to you today. I can prove the devastation that you're causing to your heart, all right? Because what you should notice if you're using alcohol heavily, this is certainly what used to happen to me. Okay, I'd drink, I'd fall asleep into some sort of alcoholic coma in bed, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and my heart felt like it was pounding out of my chest. It was beating like crazy. And I would get up and drink water, and I'd be thinking, Mike, why is my heart beating so hard? My blood pressure was through the roof. I was always borderline hypertensive. Now my heart rate, my blood pressure is 120/76. So pretty much perfect. But when I was 20 years younger, I was always borderline on heart medication because my blood pressure was so out of control because of my drinking. When you drink alcohol, it's a depressive. It depresses the central nervous system. All right. And this causes a bit of confusion, because a lot of people think, well, hang on a minute, Craig, if alcohol's a depressive, why do I feel so happy when I drink? Why do parties go with a swing when there's alcohol? If it's something that causes depression, why do things seem to go crazy when people drink? And that's because of the way your body's responding. Some artificial substance, some external input into your body has depressed your central nervous system. All right. So your body tries to counterbalance what's happened by releasing massive amounts of stimulants into your bloodstream. So, for example, when you drink alcohol, central nervous system becomes depressed, body releases adrenaline to counteract the depressive effect of the alcohol. The result, tachycardia. Your heart rate increases dramatically, and it can often sit well above 100 beats a minute and stay like that for hours, sometimes even days, depending on the amount of alcohol you've drank. So you drink alcohol and you dramatically speed up your heart. Now, there is nothing on this planet external that if we take it and put in our body and our heart rate increases, that does us good. There is no situation where that is true. If you take some medicine and it increases your heart rate, it's bad for you. The only thing that's good for you is exercise, but that's not kind of an external thing that you're putting in. It's a natural thing. But anything unnatural, external that you put in your body that increases your heart rate is bad for you. So if you're drinking this substance that puts you into tachycardia on a daily basis, remember, your heart only has a set number of beats. You are accelerating the end of your life dramatically. I put it into ChatGPT and asked, how much do you have to drink to cause a rapid increase in heart rate? And this is what it came back and said. It said light to moderate drinkers, for people consuming 1 to 2 drinks. I don't know what time scale that is. Might not cause significant heart rate changes. I don't think I've ever just consumed 1 to 2 drinks in my life in a session. Moderate to heavy drinkers, and this is actually scary, isn't it? 3 to 4 drinks in a short period makes you a heavy drinker. When I was a drinker, 3 to 4 drinks was like a half hour. Well, that increases the likelihood of experiencing tachycardia, especially if you consume rapidly. Binge drinking And if I think back to my drinking, I was pretty much binge drinking every day then, if this is the definition, because 5 drinks in 2 hours is binge drinking. My God. Well, you have a significant increase in the risk of tachycardia and other cardiac events. So look, forget about moderate and light drinkers. They're not relevant to my podcast and they're not relevant to you. We're all binge drinkers here by this standard. You are doing significant harm to your heart by forcing it to accelerate beyond what it wants to do. So my wake up moment from this episode is, if you're over 40 and you want to live your full life, you don't want to lose 10 to 15 years of it, now is the time you stop drinking alcohol. And I'm sorry if that's bad news for you, but look, it's just another one of those turning points in life where that was then and this is now. It was good while it lasted. You had some good times, but time to put it in the past and begin the next chapter of your life. And like I said right at the start, there is no choice here. The choice is you either do this or you lose 10 to 15 years of your life. It's not really a choice at all, is it? So thanks so much for being with me. If you have questions, send them in via the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com. And don't forget, if you're worried about your drinking, go to the website right now and sign up for today's free quit drinking webinar. You get a copy of my book just for turning up, and I'll show you how I've helped so many people quit drinking so easily. Thanks a lot. See you soon.